All right, welcome back to WMAC Now with your host, Chuck Stevenson, and welcome to the recap for The Ultimate Fighter Season 30, Episode 4. This was actually the best episode of the season so far, not only because the fight delivered some action, especially compared to the heavyweight snooze fest that we had last week, but also just the actual drama and the intensity of what was going on in the house and between the two teams finally started to deliver. Because I gotta be honest, this season has not been delivering on either the fight excitement or the drama. You gotta have at least one of the two going on, because if the fights suck, then you gotta deliver some juiciness outside the fights. And if people are being boring outside the cage, then they gotta deliver on the excitement. So far, we haven't had either this season, but finally, this episode was actually pretty good. So the show opens with in the gym with Team Nunes training, prepping Brogan Walker for her fight. She's supposed to be fighting Chantel Coates. And unfortunately, Brogan hurts her knee and basically has to take the rest of the day off. So already, we're getting into some interesting, some juiciness here. Cut to the house, and Juliana Pena is visiting Chantel Coates to check her weight. It is fight week, and she is at 155, which means she's 30 pounds over 125 pounds, or, 29 pounds over 126, the absolute flyweight limit. That is extremely high. Now, Coates is coming off of a bout of COVID, and, excuse me, she had a miscarriage before joining the show. So, she has some good reasons for being, on the heavy side, you could say. But Pena's assistant coach, and it's either Rick or Rich Little, is saying, away from her, to the camera, that he doesn't think the cut is going to be possible for Coates to make. So then they cut to the next day. They cut back to Brogan Sanchez, and she sees a doctor. He says the injury isn't too serious. Just try to take some time off of, try to go easy on the knee. Don't be too stressful on it. Which you got to think, well, that's kind of good news, but, she has a fight coming up. Or she's supposed to anyway, so how do you take it easy when you're prepping for a fight? Then they cut to Chantel, back to Coates again, and she is weighing in at 148 to 149, right around between those two. And, she's talking to Juliana Pena and the other coaches, and, the coaches all agree that she just cannot cut all of that weight safely. Coach Little again is saying, he's never seen a woman make that kind of cut before. At least he's never helped a woman make that kind of cut before. Saying it would be difficult for a man, and he honestly doesn't know if a woman can do it. And because the coaches all agree that the cut is just too big, they can't have her fight. And if they can't have her fight, then she has to go home. So, unfortunately for Chantel Coates, she is going home. Good news for her, though, it just came out this week, basically on Tuesday, same day the show came out, that she actually has a fight booked in, I believe, July. So there is a somewhat happy ending for her. Anyway, it cuts back to Team Pena training session, and Juliana Pena, the bantamweight champ, brings in an alternate fighter in Laura Gallardo to replace Chantel Coates. Gallardo has a record of 4-1. She actually has a previous win over her teammate, Helen Peralta, I think via split decision, if I remember correctly. And Laura says that she was really happy she ended up on Pena's team. She was happy to be on the show, but she really wanted to be on Pena's team. So Pena goes to Nunes, and Team Nunes, being that it was their fight pick, they decide to re-pick the fight. So they ask who wants to fight, and Kathryn Paprocki puts her hand up, and she actually wants to face off against Laura Gallardo. So already, we've got a new fight. We've got Paprocki against Gallardo. And bright side of this for Team Nunes is that this allows Brogan Sanchez a chance to nurse her injury a little bit longer. So back to the house, and there is a focus on Laura getting set up and moved in. I think, I want to say it's Juliana Miller, taking her around, showing her around the house, helping her get, moved in, settled in and everything. So then they go to a focus on Laura. She's 32. She was born in Mexico, but now lives in California. Has a boyfriend of 3 years. And she found Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu her senior year of high school. And, that just basically sets up the rest of her martial arts career. She currently trains at Dan Henderson's gym in Temecula, California. And she is coached by the Ultimate Fighter 2 winner, Joe Daddy Stevenson. And then they cut to Coach Pena, and she wants Lauren to focus on her grappling positioning in the fight. Like, that is the big focus, is for Laura to get the fight to the ground and focus on her getting the proper positioning and maintaining that positioning. So then they cut to a focus on Kathryn Paprocki. She's 3-2, and the biggest thing she talks about is that she has a speech impediment. She's a stutterer, and the more they have her talk, the more it actually becomes apparent. You can kind of see her struggle. Like, she really concentrates on the words that she's about to say. She's trying hard not to stutter. She's from Denver, Colorado, or lives in Denver, Colorado. She has a husband, 2 kids, and 2 dogs. And she actually owns her own gym. And then she goes into a discussion about her daily training routine. Then it goes back to fight prep. Amanda Nunes says they're planning for Laura's ground game. Like, that's their focus, is that they're trying to prepare Paprocki for Gallardo's ground game. And they're focusing on Paprocki, staying moving, using her footwork, keeping out of range, just basically using her footwork to confound the takedowns of Gallardo. They also go back to Paprocki. She actually had a fight on Dana White's Contender Series before. She took the fight on 2 weeks' notice and lost a decision. But so then they go back to weigh-ins, and you can tell on the weigh-ins, like, they're both well underweight. I think Gallardo was like 124, and Paprocki was right around like 124.5. You look at them and you say to yourself, wow, these two look kind of small for the division. Like, they don't really have a flyweight frame. And if you actually go to their Tapology accounts or their Sherdog Fight Finder pages, you actually see they fought most of their fights at strawweight up to now. So that's actually very typical for the Ultimate Fighter. Fighters come in, fight up a division on the Ultimate Fighter, because then they don't have to cut as much weight. Basically gives them an advantage. And then as soon as they get signed to the UFC, or if they get signed to the UFC, they move down in weight. So then they have some talking between the two fighters, talking about everything, blah, 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 getting ready for the fight. So let's get down into the fight. And like I said, this was actually a decent fight. So let's get into it. So first round, Laura backs Kat up to the fence against the clinch. She gets a takedown, but Kat was able to get pretty much right back up. But Laura stayed on her in the clinch. There was some good dirty boxing by both. Kathryn was able to get out of that clinch. Both are pretty aggressive in their striking. I would say that Gallardo lands more punches, but both are landing like good punches. I would say actually Paprocki doesn't land nearly as many punches, but when she lands, like you can hear her punches landing. So then Gallardo gets Kat to the cage again and gets a single leg takedown. Paprocki gets back up. She manages to separate. She actually then stuffs another Gallardo takedown, and there are some good exchanges going on the feet. And then there was like late. I'm talking like last 5 to 10 seconds takedown by Gallardo. So I actually gave the first round to Gallardo. Then we go into the second round. There's an exchange of low kicks. Like they're just throwing low kicks back and forth. Paprocki, she still seems to be having trouble with her range. And that was something, I didn't mention it in the first round, but I noticed it. And it still seemed to stay with her that Paprocki, even though she's like the longer, the taller, rangier fighter, she was having a hard time finding her range in this fight. So then Gallardo gets a double leg takedown at the fence, goes to guard. Paprocki tries to get up, or no, I'm sorry. Paprocki tries to set up a triangle, but Laura is able to escape and passes to half guard, and then passes to side control. Then we start to get some ground and pound from Gallardo, just mostly some elbows. Paprocki tries to turn out, and she manages to regain half guard. From there, though, Gallardo is able to pass. She passes to the inside, up against the cage between Paprocki and the fence, and that kind of basically cuts Paprocki off from getting to the fence to stand back up. So she passes from half guard on the outside to half guard on the inside, putting her body between Paprocki and the fence. Then Gallardo manages to pass to side control again, and then some more heavier ground and pound to finish the round. Good, strong second round for Gallardo. So it goes to the judges, and the winner by decision is Laura Gallardo. So now Team Pena is up 3-1. They've won both of the men's heavyweights fight bouts so far, and they've won one of the flyweight fight bouts so far. So far, the only fight that Team Nunes has won is a single flyweight bout. So then it goes to the fight picks, and it is Juliana Pena's turn to pick the fight. It's going to be a heavyweight bout, and she picks her own team's Bobby Maximus to take on Team Nunes' Eduardo Perez. So that'll go down next week at heavyweight, and I hope it's better than the last heavyweight fight. I mean, it's going to be hard to not be worse than the heavyweight fight, but we are talking about low-level heavyweight MMA, so just everyone keep your fingers crossed, knock on wood, whatever you got to do. Pray that the heavyweight fight next week is better than what we had last week. So that was it. Episode 4 of The Ultimate Fighter Season 30 with the flyweight bout. The latecomer, Laura Gallardo, defeating Kathryn Paprocki via decision. Good episode. Good fight. I liked, both segments, outside the cage and inside. Both delivered. It's a bit of a one-sided fight, a little bit of a one-sided fight, but that's okay because it was still all action. So I'm not disappointed. But hopefully everything keeps getting better from here. And I cannot find the post I saw it on. I don't know if it was on Twitter or Instagram, but one of the ladies on the season said that everything up through episode 4 all happened within the first week, which is, I knew that there's a lot of gimmickry with the editing and everything that's going on, but wow, everything that had happened up to that point happening in 1 week, that actually blows my mind into just how much editing goes in, because they have 6 weeks of filming, and they fit that much into, or 1 week managed to spread that out across 4 episodes, and you gotta wonder, how much do they throw away? How much hits, the cutting room floor, which is an old phrase for back when, everything was filmed with actual film. It's an old phrase, the cutting room floor. It just blows my mind, how much editing really goes into reality TV. And we've had reality TV shows since the 90s, and sometimes it just really goes to show just how unrealistic reality TV is. Anyway, those are my thoughts on it. Like I said, Tough 30, episode 4. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you liked the video, please give it a like, share it as well, spread the word, and while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to Wmma Scene Now, the best, most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.